Good morning, people. Welcome back to United View. Welcome to another Flex's View. This morning, I have to talk about Sir Jim Ratcliffe's comments in an interview he done with Sky yesterday. A lot of people had their say on this. I was always going to have my say on this. Not flock to the internet to do it in super fast fashion, but take time to digest what he said. As you guys know, we are a football channel. We are a fan channel for Man United. We talk about all things Manchester United, especially the ownership, the minority ownership, Ineos, etc., etc., the Glazers, players, fans, you name it, Manchester United, we talk about it. And I think Sir Jim Ratcliffe's comments that he made yesterday are very, very concerning. To me, they set off alarm bells to myself. They have set off and do set off a lot of alarm bells and worrying signals to many others. They're hugely offensive to many. And I understand that a lot of people will have different takes on this and different perspectives and want to explore different avenues of what Sir Jim Ratcliffe says, because there's some parts of it where some people are particularly aggrieved by some of the stuff he talks about in regards to Man United, which is a separate issue in terms of what he's done decision-wise, being unpopular. He's made changes at United, this, that and the other. He's put Carrick in place, all of that stuff, which in honesty, to me, is secondary. I know there is a lot of people that have gone down that route as that is the most sort of significant thing that he said. For me, not at all. I think for me, it's quite clear. The most sort of impactful things that he was saying, the primary things that he was saying, and the things that he was saying wrong, was his situation and stance on the comment made around the UK being colonised by immigrants. I'm just going to read you the comments that he said for a little bit of context, people, because I want to do this properly. I don't want to rush through it. I don't want to just come on here saying angry stuff and just going down a political route to draw people into uncomfortable conversations. But at the same time, on the platform that I've created, I am going to talk about things that do anger me, that do hit home to me, and a lot of our audience, many of our audience, and many United fans around the world. Hence the name Manchester United. So Jim Ratcliffe, this was some of the quotes from The Athletic. So again, keeping it credible. We're not doing hearsay out here. You can't have an economy with 9 million people on benefits and huge levels of immigrants coming in. Ratcliffe, 73, told Sky. I mean, the UK has been colonised. It's costing too much money. The UK has been colonised. Can't even believe this. The UK has been colonised by immigrants, really, hasn't it? I mean, the population of the UK was 58 million in 2020, and now it's 70 million. That's 12 million people. So he's trying to put forward this notion that the UK has been colonised by immigrants that have come to this country, which just isn't true. I think he has a cheek to suggest that, as somebody himself who was taking the socio-economic route and benefits of not even being tax efficient in this country and moving to Monaco to reap their benefits. People can say it's his money. He can do what he wants with it. He can. But whilst doing what he wants with it, coming out with false information and false narratives and gaslighting won't be accepted, and is hugely offensive to all of the immigrants that have come to the UK and help build it. And maybe this is a situation that depending on your heritage, depending on where you're from, depending on what your upbringing is, maybe you'll understand a little bit more than others. But I know there's a lot of people in this community, and I'd like to say probably all of you, that understand this situation in terms of why this is deeply offensive and causing so much unrest, and rightly so. Listen, my grandparents came to this country as immigrants in the Windrush generation, came here, worked all their lives, contributed to the UK economy, and like so many did in the Windrush generation from the Caribbean and other places around the world, England, the Great Britain had a big hold on colonialism. It's a fact. They took people from around the world to help rebuild this country, for some good of the United Kingdom that we see today, and for some bad. That's where I'm not going to go too political with numbers and this, that, and the other, but I'm going to just say how I feel. And when you hear somebody speak about immigration like that, it has a certain tone and that hits different. To me, the club I support, the club we support, Manchester United, is exactly that. We have players, we have fans, we have staff from all corners of the globe to make Manchester United what it is. This is the guy that came into our football club and said he wants to put the Manchester back into United. Or the Manchester back into Manchester United, should I say. You know, but has no intention of looking at the United Kingdom actually being on a united front, which is represented by many races, creed, ethnicities, religions, etc., etc. So it shows me that we have a person in our football club who has so much say, so much power, so much influence, as we know with the footballing matters, that feels so comfortable and entitled to be able to have this type of opinion because he knows that, you know, he's not going to be reprimanded for this. Now, again, not trying to go into politics and picking sides of political parties. I couldn't give a toss about that. I'm only going to present the facts. The Prime Minister has encouraged him to apologise for his remarks. Keir Starmer. Let me get that tweet up because I bookmarked that because I thought that was quite important. Where is it? Let me just bring it up because I don't want to just be saying things off the top of what I've read, but I can't remember exactly how people said it and what they said. Misquoting has already been done by many. Let me just get that, people. One second. There you go. Right, Keir Starmer. I'm not going to bring it up on the screen. Keir Starmer, he tweeted or put a statement on X saying, offensive and wrong. Britain is proud, tolerant and a diverse country. Jim Ratcliffe should apologise. Now, whatever you make of Keir Starmer and the Labour government, I'm definitely not doing that here. That's not what this video is about. I just think that for me, you look at what he's saying and how comfortable he is saying it, and also presenting facts, or should I say, presenting numbers that aren't facts in order to back up his deluded opinion. That is what I think is scary. I think Melissa Reddy has done a good piece on this. She responded, and just put the numbers there of what he's saying, and the Athletic actually even sort of dispelled the myth of what he was saying regarding the numbers wise, because he says, like I say, that the population of the UK was 58 million in 2020. Now it's 70 million. That's 12 million people. They put it here. They said that, you know, on the UK's Office of National Statistics estimated that the UK population was 69 million essentially in 2020, November 2025, compared to 67 million in 2020. The ONS also estimate that the UK's long-term net migration was 204,000 from 2024 to 2025. But if you listen to Sir Jim Ratcliffe, he's trying to insinuate that most people that are on benefits in this country aren't of the native people who live here, who are from here. They are immigrants, they are migrants, they are people who shouldn't be here. So again, you're going into a whole different territory of where you're trying to bring people into your way of thinking, which is just totally wrong. I think he's out of touch. I think he's proved himself to show what values he has. I think when he talks about the Manchester United side, which I'll bring up in a second, about not being comfortable, not being liked, doesn't mind making decisions where people don't agree with him, which in business you do need an element of that, but his comes from an element of privilege, you know, of not caring about putting false information out there. You know, who's advising him? What advice is he taking? Who's encouraging him to sit down in front of big cameras and give these type of self-righteous, self-entitled, deluded interviews that are making him look even worse? And actually, you know what happens is some of the people that are really powerful, some of the people that have a lot of influence and a lot of money, sometimes you leave them long enough, they end up exposing themselves for what they think or what their ideologies are. And I think this is a big part of that. You know, like I said, Melissa already puts up a lot of facts from the government website that says the proportion, and this is facts. Proportion of the people on universal credit by immigration status in Great Britain in 2025, 83.6% of them are from the UK, Ireland, or right of abode. Cut a long story short, 1% of them are in a place where they're they're not from an EU settlement scheme, including the family reunion. They're limited to leave to remain, so that's a small percentage. Indefinite leave to remain is 2.7%, and refugees 1.5%, and the EU settlement scheme is 9.7%. Anyway, what I'm saying is that factually what Sir Jim Ratcliffe said was wrong. Whether your opinion on it, immigration is different from other people's, absolutely fine, no problem. I'm talking about facts. And Sir Jim Ratcliffe has tried to use things that aren't true to perpetuate and to pile on into a very, very delicate situation. And at the same time, you know, what if you do want to bring it back to Manchester United? What are we saying here? Are we sending Ahmad packing? What are we doing here? Are we sending Patrick Dorgu packing? Are we sending Cunha packing? Bruno packing? All the foreign players that we've got? Casemiro, Lisandro Martinez? Manchester United is built, last time I checked, off of immigrants, inside and out, on the pitch and off. Go to Carrington, go to the head offices at Manchester United and see some of the type of people that work there. And let's remove all the immigrants and see what type of club Manchester United looks like. Let's look at the fan base of Manchester United. You know, are we looking to? Is this the same people that have colonised Britain, according to Sir Jim Ratcliffe? It's crazy what he said, guys. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna lie. And listen, I know there's gonna be a large portion of you that want to focus on the football side of what he said, because that is the most natural thing for some people to do. But I would urge you to see the bigger picture with this. I really, really would. I think the 1958, their statement on this, to me, is indicative of that. They said, once again, a total embarrassment, whether in front of the camera or being interviewed. Commenting on the issues of our country while living in Monaco to avoid paying tax is bad enough. So they've addressed that bit ever so slightly. But it goes on, this is the bit where I don't get where the 1958, or I don't sit with their stance on this. However, his comments on Manchester United are particularly worrying. So they're, of course, more geared towards what he said about Man United. Listen, I'm blocked by the 1958, so that says about how I sit with them. But it just clearly shows where their priorities lie in terms of the bit about immigration and really what Manchester United actually stands for, about having players from all over the world and a fan base of all over the world and people who work at the club and represent the club from all over the world. That's kind of been put to the side, and they're just jumping to the bit where he does stupidly talk about Michael Carrick and some of the decisions he's made, and then they go into ticket prices, etc., etc. All of which, by the way, are true from the footballing side. But I think when the Man United minority owner comes out to this level and offends so many and has this level of reaction, I think to just particularly be worried about his comments on Manchester United shows me where the priorities are over there. That's all I'll say on that. Like I said, I'm blocked and don't have communication with the fan group, so I'm always welcome and welcoming it, but it hasn't arrived yet. But that's just an imprint of what's going on the football side of it. I'll be honest, it's secondary to me. I've mentioned that already in this video. It's secondary to me, but for me, it just shows how out of touch he is. It shows we're in bad hands. It shows we're not in competent hands. And it shows, for me personally, I'll speak for myself, there's a person representing my club, making big decisions at the club I support, the club I love, that essentially makes me feel marginalised, is what I would say. So, yeah, I think people can make their own minds up about what Sir Jim Ratcliffe has said versus what he hasn't said, how you interpret that. People will be offended or not offended at different scales. My intention of making this video is not to sway people and get this siege mentality and call people out. I'm giving my opinion and my opinion only on what he said, and also talking about my observations of what I've seen around this. If you're uncomfortable watching this, I'm not going to apologize, because it is things that we have to talk about, but I would encourage you to explore maybe why you're uncomfortable, maybe do a little bit of research, empower yourself, or if you're more comfortable just moving on from it and talking about the football side, or not even talking about this at all and waiting for the next transfer video, etc. United View will have that. There's content here for everybody, but for everybody who has an opinion on this or is offended by this, or thinks this is a load of rubbish, let me know in the comments. We have an open community here. Comments aren't going to be blocked unless they're bang out of order and stepping over lines. I want to encourage good, healthy conversation and open conversation about this for people who would like to. That's what I built this community for. That's what I'll stand by here as well. And, it is to do with our football club, very much so, because, I would urge you to remember that some of Jim Ratcliffe's quotes of what he's saying don't represent what our football club is actually about. That's what my point is, regardless of what you think about political stuff, which I've tried my best not to even go into that today. but these comments are so strong it kind of do cross-pollinate. But regardless of what you think about that and different political parties and who said what Sir Jim Ratcliffe is portraying doesn't represent the DNA and fabric and what our club stands for. That's what I'm saying. And if you do think that it does, then again, I agree to disagree with somebody with that opinion. Let me know what you guys are saying. Do hit a like on the video and subscribe to United View if you haven't done so already. And let me hear from you. I want to hear from you. Take care. Peace.